Good evening, everybody. I'm Walter Johnson, and this is my beautiful wife, Mack Mama.
AKA Coach Coco. Because I'm not.
AKA King TuT.
Exactly.
Alright.
Because that's the brand.
Now?
That's the
All right.
brand. They know you from, you say Walter Johnson, but they like Walter King TuT Johnson. You got to say that. And Mack Mama, AKA Coach Coco.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
yeah, I'm bossy. Yeah. Because y'all like to say in the comments, I'm bossy. I am.
And I love bossy.
And he loves me. That's why I'm his wife. Because he doesn't want just a generic female that's going to listen. And he likes the exchange. This is what the man likes. That's why he married me. Okay, go ahead, baby. But I'm also sweet and submissive, right, boo?
You're very sweet.
I'm not submissive?
Back to the camera.
Okay.
Now, there was a specific issue I wanted to speak about. A brother by the name of Chyna Brim accused me of being in the presence of somebody that did something wrong to somebody, and it really, really bothered me. The reason why it bothered me is because I just came home from doing basically 30 years in prison. I don't know exactly everything that's going on in society. But when I was away in prison, I spent my time exercising, reading, analyzing, preparing. I used my time in a manner so that when I came to society or returned to society, if I ever came back, that I would be able to be a man who could be beneficial to other human beings. I was too busy working on myself, trying to get my life together and figure some things out. While working on myself, one of the things that I figured out is that in order to get the business done of rebuilding my life, I had to make it my business not to get into other people's business. And I say that to say this. Now that I'm in society, society is not a thing that was given to me. It was something that was earned. I never, ever, ever was supposed to be here. I bust my ass to get back home. And I say that to say that I understand what life is about today. I respect life today. And I respect human beings. When I was released, I prepared myself in advance that if one day I was released, I would treat all God's children with respect. That if one day I was released, I would be of service to other human beings, no matter who they are. That if one day I was released, I would be so busy doing things for the youth, the elderly, and the people who are being deprived, that I wouldn't have no time for skullduggery and gossip. Because I'm a man now. I'm a 61-year-old man. When people greet me, I greet them back. Because it's common courtesy and it's respect. Now, that gentleman that was being referred to was a guy who offered me as a gift for coming home some really, really nice things. He gave them to me. He didn't know me, but he knew someone that I knew.
Me.
And he gave them to me. And I accepted them. And when I recognized the quality, you know what I said? On camera, I asked people to continue to support black businesses. When I was in prison, I did a lot of facilitating. I played the role in creating programs, facilitating programs, and figuring out ways how to make other human beings use the tools that they had to better themselves. When I was in jail, and I committed myself to this program thing, I made a promise that I would not judge human beings. That if a person came into a program that I was doing, whether it was a mentorship, conflict resolution, victims impact, stopping violence, mentorship, that I would see this human being and I would do whatever it was that I could possibly do to help them better themselves. I didn't have time to be trying to figure out what the next man did, why he did what he did, or what he did something, or whoever he did whatever he did too. Because that right there, it really has nothing to do with me. I grew up living the criminal lifestyle, and I made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I'm grateful that there's a lot of people that I violated and disrespected that have forgiven me and come to me with open arms. And what I'm saying is that, yo, you know what? Actually, one of the reasons why I also was given compassionate release is because there was a person who was a victim that wrote a letter for me. And that person asked my judge to release me. If I was to see that person right now, I would give them a hug and a kiss out of gratitude. Many of us guys, man, have the tendency to beg for compassionate relief, to beg for a pardon, to beg for clemency. And we always want people to do things for us, but we don't stop and think about what could we do for other people. The other day, I did something, and I spoke about my judge, Frederick Block. He has a book called A Second Chance. Many of us want a second chance, but what about the second chance other people deserve? You got people in society, man, that made mistakes, that did things that we might not like or agree with. But when they did those things, if they were in a state of ignorance and they changed, you gotta allow those people to live. If somebody do somebody wrong because them and another person was living a lifestyle that was wrong, and because they was living a lifestyle that was wrong, one of the guys ended up having a conscience. Down the line, you're gonna hold against this individual a mistake that they made based upon their actions, come on, man. How could we ask for forgiveness and not be willing to forgive other human beings? When people come back to society, if they start businesses, if they respectful to the community, if they treating people in a manner that's conducive to helping our communities become better, why is it that we look for things to harm these people? Yo, we gotta learn how to live and let live. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a guy that did a lot of things. And I mean bad things. And one of the things I've learned to live with is that when I was doing wrong, anybody that did me wrong, when I was doing wrong, I gave a pass to. And the reason why I gave them a pass is because I had no business doing wrong. And I had no business trying to coerce, manipulate, force another person into doing something that they didn't really want to do, into becoming something that they really didn't want to be. That's one of our biggest problems in the street. A lot of us guys that live in the street and follow the street culture, and I'm talking about the criminal lifestyle, we got the tendency to think everybody is alike. Some people have a stopping point. But because we are able to influence and coerce or force that person to do what we want them to do, we think it's cool. And then when that individual come to the conclusion that they was forced, manipulated, or coerced, and they don't want to be in no more, how could you be mad at them? You seen it coming. You knew what it was. Yo, man, we got to figure out a way to start educating ourselves and educating our children so that our people could be more free from a psychological perspective. You know, I've been listening to a lot of the guys talking about snitching. And I know the stop snitching thing was something that was developed for criminals. But would you believe that you got children who have adapted and adopted to it? You got young people in communities who are biting their tongues and not telling their parents about things that have happened to them because they got a family member running around the household talking about the code of silence. When it comes to babies, when it comes to children, a child's supposed to be able to speak freely about whatever it is they got to speak about. A child is not supposed to be held captive by anyone. You got a lot of young ladies and girls out there who have been violated and raped and disrespected. And guess what? They're not telling anybody because they are afraid that if they were to tell that they was violated by someone, that they would be considered an outcast. So we leave our own people with nowhere to run, with no one to come to, without support. Real men are protectors, man. And you know, now that I'm home, I'm looking at these streets and it's breaking my heart. It breaks my heart more than anything because Chyna Brim said something to me, man, that touched me so deeply. He said that we were the ones who started that mentality, that we was responsible for creating that philosophy, and that they are trying to follow behind that type of lifestyle because they believe that the guys that came before them were masters at designing a structure that would be beneficial for them. And yo, guess what? I have to be the first to admit, I messed up. I really, really messed up. Because today, when I be thinking about the philosophy I live by, the way I miseducated people, the way I coerced, manipulated, and forced people into doing things that they didn't really want to do, I realized, man, that I misled a lot of people. And there's a lot of young men out there who are living by a code that was designed by idiots. I was a damn fool. I was a young kid living in fear and ended up using things like force and brutalization to prove that I was a man. But guess what? I can't even say that I'm a man today because I messed up at such a young period in my life that at this present moment, I'm still fighting to figure out a way to become the man that I truly desire to be. Yo, y'all guys, man, who are still young, I'm begging y'all to start as young. Yo, start now. Start working on yourself. Start figuring out ways to have values. Start living by principles. Because if you don't take control of your own life, you got idiots out there, like me when I was young, who would take you and take your life and pitch you into something that'll probably get you 50 years or put you in the grave. I'm just asking y'all, man. A lot of y'all idolize us guys and y'all think that we all that. And I'm just here to tell you that it's so far from the truth. Many of us guys had mental illnesses. Many of us guys, we was being something other than what we were. We wore a lot of masks. Many of y'all thought we was brave, we was tough, that we was courageous, but we wore masks. And we was better at tricking people into believing that we was superheroes, when in reality we was cowards. Because if I was a superhero, I wouldn't be TuT. I'd be a lawyer right now. I'd be an entrepreneur. I wouldn't have threw away 30 years of my life on one bit, 10 years, 40 years of my life in prison. I wouldn't have been making all the dumb mistakes that I made. And the reason why I made them is because I was afraid to use one word: help. I needed help. And I never went for it. And the reason why I never went for it, because the older guys in my community made me believe that it was only suckers that asked for help. That if you was to ask somebody for help or to tell somebody you didn't know how to do something, that meant you was a goddamn coward. So you know what I did? I followed them until I lost my life. And it's by the grace of God that I got my life back. So, for future reference, while I was doing time in prison, I got an opportunity to meet the real me. But it took years for me to take off all the masks to meet myself. But now that I found me, I'm not going to be one of those guys in society, gossiping, pointing fingers, and putting other human beings down. I'm here to put work in. My pistol today is my brain. And I owe a lot of people. And I'm here to pay my debt. If you're trying to do something with your life and assist me with helping other people with their lives, we could partner up. But if you're living by the old school criminal lifestyle and all you want to do is profit off of other human beings' misery, act like you never knew me. Because today I'm a restorer and I'm a healer. God bless me, and I'm not taking that blessing for granted.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to say this. Everything you said was profound as usual. That in terms of the Chyna Brim guy,
right?
We was going to do a reaction video to it, but then another video came out today, and he was saying, you know, that he was speaking. He did kind of like a reaction video without the reaction about the Vlad stuff we did, but he was talking positively about both of us and stuff like that. So I just wanted to say that the young man in question that we were talking about, not Chyna Brim, but the other guy, but I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to further perpetuate anything negative towards him, because that's my brother. Right. I look at him as my brother. I introduced him to you that day. You didn't know him, but he called me and was like, sis, I heard your husband's home. I want to bless him. I got a business. I had some of his sweatsuits before. He wanted to hit you up with like 6 sweatsuits, and it was a nice thing. And I said, okay, no problem. It didn't even dawn on me to think, ask him, or is your paperwork correct? Or, I don't get involved in that type of nonsense. Like, you're 61, I'm 51, and to me, even though I was a part of that street world, I'm so light years away from that. You know what I'm saying? If you solid with me, you solid. You know what I mean? And whatever that brother did in his past, I'm not here to defend it or judge it. All I know is he's my brother. And he did something nice for you. And then all of a sudden, the video comes out and they put a spin on it and associates your name with someone that is considered no good in the street. So I just want to say, you didn't know him. I know him. That's my brother. I stand on that. But I do apologize because I don't want to sully anything that you got going on with any of, whatever is good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how protective I am over you. You know what I'm saying? So that leads me into another thing that I wanted to discuss. I'm into this. I'm reading the comments, and a lot of the comments are so positive, and I thank you guys so much. But there, of course, there's negativity, and you got to expect that because now we in the world now. This ain't Instagram where it's just our people that follow us that really love. No, this is strangers in the world. People are trolling. People got so many opinions and so much to say. Most of them, like I said, 75% of the comments is totally positive, but there's 25% that's not. And I found myself trying to answer that 25%. And not in a negative way, but just basically, defending you, defending myself. They say little fun. Sometimes I bust out laughing. I tell you the stuff. They said I was Florida Evans the other day. I said, okay. I thought they was trying to be giving me my props, because to me, Florida Evans was the backbone to James and the family on Good Times. And she ran that household, and she made sure the days when James couldn't pay that rent, she did something to make sure that the rent got paid. But I also saw it was a negative connotation in it. And I don't know, you don't know who these people that are saying this stuff, because they'll have numbers and names. They're not their real names. There's no pictures. So it could have been a racist thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that meant. But what I'm saying is, guys, you can say what you want to say. I'm not going to remove the comments because I started removing something. I said, what am I removing it for? Let's keep it real. Let's show the ignorance of the world. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can put a comment under some positivity, you know what I mean, then that just shows the person that you are. And you got to live with yourself. Because I see a black woman and a black man trying to do positive things. I know you might not know who I am. A few comments was like, bro, you should let your wife fall back. You tell her to fall. She doing too much. She wants more fame than you. We don't want fame. That's the thing. I started this platform for my husband because he came home and there was a lot of negative connotation about him and his past. And I just wanted him to have an outlet to address anything he wanted to address, whether it be the stuff from the past, the stuff he's doing for the future. And we try to constantly put out content that's positive because he lives a positive life and I've been living a positive life. Because like him, I've evolved too. A lot of people, y'all don't know me, so I'm going to give you a small snippet. I did 13 years of my life in prison and I transformed and I've evolved. I myself am a motivational speaker. Myself, I go and I mentor the youth that is at risk. I also have 5 books out, 2 of which I wrote under Mack Mama. One of them is Tales of Original Bad Girl. That's my life story by Mack Mama. And in it, you'll see our connection, that this is nothing new. I knew this man since 1991, and he starts off the chapter of Thug Love, chapter 5. Okay, if you want to, because everybody say receipts or facts, go back date, just download the book and you can read it. So you'll know pretty much my story. I'm not going to detail it now, but you'll see that I myself was a former gangster, a female gangster, OBG. I used to rep that, Original Bad Girl. So I tried to live my life in a certain way that shows my change. So that's why me and him have a lot of things in common, because we both was from the streets. We both ran together. That was my partner. You know, this was a guy that I loved and had a crush on, and we never even had any type of intimate relationship. We were strictly just solid street partners. And then 3 years later, I got back into your life, because periodically I would drop in on the bed and we fell in love. But we also did a lot of planning and plotting on our future together and how we wanted to change the narrative, not just about him, but about guys coming home, period, and how they represent themselves. You know, and I just feel like my husband is doing such a great job, and I want to just publicly commend you, because when I was putting out our pictures, because I was trying to humanize him before he came home, and I said, you know what, I'm going to show people who I see, because all they used to see was those stone-faced pictures of you, you know, in the penitentiaries, and, you know, you never smiled. And I wanted them to see who I saw. You know, your beautiful smile that lights up the room, how you love on me, that you are more than what they portray you to be. So I started putting our pictures out. You came home, right? And you still walk the walk. You still love on me. You were smart enough to say, you know what, I'm going to be with you. Because being with the world right now, you're being pulled. I see it every day. You're being pulled in so many different directions. People want you to do what they want you to do. They have their own agendas for you. And it's a lot. So when the people in the comments say, I'm doing too much, no, the world's doing too much. And I'm trying to protect him from that. Y'all don't know what's going on. Y'all don't see what I see, but I see it every day. This man came home with a purpose. And his purpose, let me take my glasses off. His purpose is to heal, to help, to change. Now, if you got any other agenda for him other than that, what aligns with that purpose, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because he's dead serious. Okay? So the things that people probably thought he was going to do, the path that they wanted you to go on, you know, unfortunately, that's just not the path God has for him. And we don't care about money. I have money. I've been stacking money for years, waiting for this man to come home. He came home to a nice little bag. He didn't need nobody. He came home to wonderful. I've been shopping for him for 3 years. The man had 5 life sentences. My people thought I was crazy. They didn't understand, but I knew, Because God spoke to me and he told me you was coming home. I knew he was coming home. And I shopped and I shopped and I shopped. And I stacked and I stacked and I stacked because I didn't want you to have to depend on nobody. You understand what I'm saying?
I appreciate
You're welcome, baby. Mwah. So, whatever y'all want to think about me, I don't care. I've been popular all my life. I don't need no fame. This page used to be Mack Mama's channel. I made it Walter King Tut Johnson. Okay, I did the same thing on Instagram because it's all about my husband and it's all about his purpose and I'm his backbone. And I'm riding with him wherever he wants to go. And I know that you're going to do great things. You're doing them now. You know what I mean? When we read the comments, like I said, the 75% that's positive, it's unbelievable how you are affecting people. You know what I mean? So you've only been home 25 days. Oh, that's another thing. He needs to rest. You're pushing him out there. But I know what I'm doing. And it's paying off. And we're about to monetize this channel. We don't need to do interviews or anything else on other people's channel. And if we do, we'll make the decision and choose wisely. Or maybe, giving a interview on somebody's channel. But it certainly won't be because they're dangling a carrot in front of our face. We're not on our knees. We're not hurting. And we don't need no money. Money is good. It's going to help. We're going to do a nonprofit. It'll help the things that he want to do. Don't get me wrong. We live a nice, luxurious lifestyle and we can always fund. We need funding. But at the same time, we're not going to sell our soul for it. That's the difference. So if you want to do something positive with us when it concerns with talking to the children, talking to the colleges, talking to prisoners, because you know that you have a great profound effect on people that you left behind. And you talk about it every day, how you want to make initiatives to help them and see your people come home.
That's right.
So if it's anything that got to do with things of that sort, please contact Coach Coco Kears at gmail.com. You can DM, but the DMs is getting crazy and I can't get to everybody. But you do, what I love about you, he tries to send messages to his people, the little voice messages. So he does do that. But at the same token, if it's serious business inquiries, contact us on Coach Coco Kears at gmail.com. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. It's very important that we grow this channel, guys, because this is his official channel. Whatever people are still putting out that has his name in it is all clickbait. And it's all good. If that's what they need to do to make their money, I'm not hating. But always bring it back to this.